The worst horror movie I ever saw was fucking great.
Hello and welcome to This May Hurt a Bit. My name is James Strayer and this is
John C. Myers.
And we are a horror franchise podcast discussing each film in horror franchises. And today we will be discussing The Fly from 1958. We chose this one because you, dear listeners, chose this one. As mentioned in our Chucky wrap-up, we went ahead and picked four, semi-arbitrarily selections. And our listeners on Instagram voted in a poll, and this one won. The other three, just in case you're not following us on Instagram, were House, Blade, and Extro. And all three of those have the possibility of us rolling right into one of those after The Fly, because I want to watch all three of those, actually.
Right.
And also, as said, like after we do a big franchise, it's kind of fun to downshift into a smaller one for a little while, too. So,
right. Get a little bit of pain.
Yes, exactly. But I'm excited about The Fly because I have seen this one once before when I was very young, but I have not seen the other two older ones. And of course, I don't need an excuse to rewatch Jeff Goldblum in 1986. But which of these have you seen before?
In its totality, I've only seen the Goldblum one.
Yeah.
I've seen like bits of The Fly 2, the sequel to that one that I think Eric Stoltz is in.
Yeah.
I've seen like tiny bits of that. And then, of course, like the famous scenes from this.
Exactly.
I have seen.
Right.
But,
yeah.
Like clip shows and things about horror. And of course, all the references to this as well.
Right. I mean, it's funny because as soon as you see The Fly in all of his glory, in all of his 1958 glory, I was like, well, there's obviously the Simpsons episode, The Treehouse of Horror. And then, of course, I was thinking of, and I meant to look up the name beforehand, but the second tier villain in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Dr. Baxter Stockman.
There for some reason, and you can take this how you want to, but I was like,
badly is how I'm going to choose to, because I feel bad about it.
I was like, I bet I won't even have to bother looking up that name. Yeah. I remember fighting him in the video game. I remember him in the cartoon, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, he
made the Mausers, the little robot guys.
Yes, for sure. So yeah, that was, I almost know his little animated figure better than I know the 1958 Fly. Yeah,
really, for me, it was just the help me, that little voice I feel like was referenced in all sorts of cartoons and other things.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, if you're growing up and watching stuff in the 80s, then a monster movie in the late 50s hits the right timeline for the people who are creating in the 80s, wanting to ape that kind of thing. But this was a pleasure to throw on and like revisit. Of course, you can't help but constantly think the Jeff Goldblum one, too, because I think most people listening to this probably know that one better. I think that's a fair assumption. However, not until we get to that one do I want to like really rattle off the differences or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, that was certainly going on in my mind, but it's like, well, I don't want to get into those comparisons yet.
Right. We need to watch this in a vacuum on its own merits. Of course, judging it on its own merits, though repetitive and redundant at times, especially in the middle, it still has like a fun dread atmosphere to it, I think. And there's a couple of like small ideas that are pretty chilling. I think that they do a good job with, but it's also just nice to watch Vincent Price.
Sure. Yes.
I mean, that's a big
legend
part of it.
Vincent Price. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think this is our first Vincent Price movie.
This would be our first Vincent Price movie. I mean, this is probably also the oldest movie that we've done.
I think you're right. Otherwise it'd probably be Psycho.
Yeah. Which was 60, I think.
60. Yeah. So this has it beat by 2 years.
Well, yeah. No, this is a classic tale of man's hubris and a tragic tale, which I think comes through a lot, because you think a lot of the 1950s sci-fi monster movies they deal with you tampered in God's domain, but they're a lot schlockier, a lot less tragic. In fact, this one there was a note from the studio to have at one point the white-headed fly get bigger and bigger. And so the threat was you needed to stop it before it started rampaging over the town, like the giant Gila monster or Attack of the Giant Spiders or, whatever.
Yeah. I'm not saying I wouldn't watch that, but I think that keeping it small and contained makes it so much more effective on that kind of dread feeling.
And it's also funny because initially, like, this was purchased. This was initially a short story in Playboy magazine. Someone read it for the articles, saw this article and said, yeah, let's do it. Kurt Newman, who ended up directing it, took it to Robert Lippert, independent producer, who was operating not a studio, but like his production company was Regal, and they were sort of loosely affiliated with Fox. What they would do is they would release the films under the name Regal Pictures. He made popular low budget movies that filled a niche that Fox made money on, and they would provide money and distribution and had nothing to do with anything else. Sometimes they wouldn't even see the movies. They'd just be like, we have a right to like say, yes, make that, or no, don't. But then we'll just run it.
That's a dream scenario, really.
Yeah. But then Fox took this over and moved the budget from, usually it was about $90,000, kicked this up to like almost like $450,000, I think was the number. It was that way it could be in color. They could also push Lippert out of the project because he was getting some flack from the Screen Actors Guild for not paying royalties for movies that went to television.
Oh, yeah.
That was an ongoing thing that they ended up striking about. But anyway, Fox took over. And so it's because sci-fi was super popular.
Yes.
Like those kind of schlocky things we're talking about, we're making a lot of money. And so this is sort of an example of elevated horror.
There you go.
Example of studios being like, oh, well, people seem to like this. What if we made this classy? And in fact, Vincent Price has described this as a classier version of a horror movie, but it is still a horror movie. Although an interesting fact about this one is that there is a monster, but everyone is very human in it, and there's not really an antagonist.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was spoiler alert for the end of the episode when I was keeping a track of the deaths in this episode. There's two, arguably one. So,
yeah, it's one guy twice.
Right. So
yeah.
It's not like the horrible mutated flyman got loose in suburbia.
Yeah.
And started killing people off or anything like that. No, this is just sad.
It's about your loss of humanity. It's about, delving too deep into the unexplored terrain of science and what that can bring.
Well, which is an obvious theme at the time where we're talking, 14 years after the A-bomb drops. And so I think that shifted everybody's thoughts as far as like, is technology good or not?
The suddenness of our age. Electronics, rockets, Earth satellites, supersonic flight. And now this. Oh, it's not so much who invents them. It's the fact they exist.
But you're not frightened of TV or radio or X-rays or electricity or that the Earth is round?
No, but everything's going so fast. I'm just not ready to take it all in. It's
that, sure, the science has created these wonders, but isn't that kind of freaky at the same time?
A timeless theme right now.
We are particularly like with the news today. There's that dork Brian Johnson, I think is his name is. That's like, I'm going to turn back the clock, and he's given himself a autoimmune disease that can't be cured. So, way to go!
Nice work, man. He tampered in God's domain, and
he tampered in God's domain.
Accelerated the end of his life by proxy. Yeah, but yeah, this is also one that Vincent Price, I guess, like I don't think that he was quite capital P Vincent Price at this time. Like this is one of those movies that like kind of catapulted him, and he was a little bit reticent to do this, another horror picture, but he just said like, I got to play this as straight as possible. No chewing the scenery, which for him, I'm probably sure is a little bit difficult to rein in. And that is not a criticism. That is a celebration.
Yeah. No, I mean, watch the Fall of the House of Usher. Watch Corman's Fall. Yes. Amazing. He's so great in that.
My personal favorite, Dr. Phibes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the sequel to that is fantastic. Yeah. So he was just like, another monster picture. And then he read the script and he was like, oh, this is actually like a little bit of a domestic drama. This is, I'm sure he did use, he put in air quotes when he said to the producers, this is elevated horror, as we will come to know it. But no, it was great. I had like half forgotten that he was even in this. So I was happy to see him in his gorgeous red smoking jacket in his introduction scene.
And he's very polite about being called at midnight.
Yes, exactly. Over a murder.
Do not call me at all, let alone after midnight.
I was going to say, what's your polite cutoff time?
I mean, the thing is that I'm a notorious late night texter, so I can't comment.
Well, texting is less obtrusive than
that's the thing.
phones.
I figure if you're just put your phone on silent, and here's a stupid idea for you first thing in the morning, because it's always
I've been
that
on the receiving end of many of those. I think most people kind of say like, nah, past 9 o'clock, just don't be calling. You know, even 8 is getting a little. Yeah. What about murder? What if it's a murder?
If it's murder, I would
11.
Fine, 11, I guess.
But I'm probably
just don't do it more than once.
You get one murder call past 9 p.m.
Yeah, don't make a habit of calling me about people being murdered.
These are the pressing concerns that The Fly brings to mind. Hey, we said technology was a theme, so here's what I'm saying about my views on technology. No more phone.
Right. Well, and you think about the danger of that is that we have this ability now to just contact people whenever, wherever, and look at what that has wrought is that I'm sending the worst puns ever at 11 o'clock at night.
I'll take that instead of, some sort of like, Twitter racial diatribe or something like that people tend to do.
No, those go to a different group chat.
Oh, gotcha. Yes. Yes, it's hate speech is making flies out of all of us right now. The other thing about this one is I think like a lot of people, did you somehow think that this movie was in black and white?
No, because I just knew the multifaceted screen with all the different the fly image. So I'd seen that a billion times. So I never really thought, is that a common misconception?
I think that it is a common misconception because the 2 sequels are in black and white for whatever reason.
Yeah. I think you're looking at the advantage of having the $450,000 budget for sure. There.
That, and when I found the copy, I streamed this off of Internet Archive because it wasn't available to stream or anywhere else, and I have not bought the box set yet. But I just saw that there, and then I spent a good 10 minutes or so being like, it's a colorized version. I got to find the black and white to make sure that I watch the original style, and then I realized. No, this was always in color.
Yeah, and it looks great.
Oh man, yeah.
That like you mentioned his red jacket. Yeah, the Technicolor of it looks fantastic, and I mean particularly like Patricia Owens' fiery red hair and those amazing gowns she wears, and that kind of, and just the decor in general looks pretty fantastic. The transformation scenes or like the teleportation scenes, wonderful.
Some of those neon laboratory lights, I don't know what they do, but they just flash. And there's a couple of like red and purple and blue ones in there.
Yeah, you got to have a red one and a blue one at least if you want to do real science.
So the movie opens. Now you're going to have to remind me because, of course, my brain goes right to this discussion in the Michael Arthur Holloway realm of things. Is this a smash or a gush or a splush or a splash?
I believe because it's only one thing going. It's technically it's a very slow motion fly swat.
Yeah, exactly.
Is really what it is. Mm-hmm. But I want to say smush.
It's a smush because the gush was the double.
Well, I think the gush is the double. And this is easily solvable, but I will never look back.
Right. Yeah. It's more fun to try to remember each time.
Yeah. I believe this gets brought up in our Saw 6 episode.
That's correct.
Is that distinction. But I think in this case, it is a smush.
But yeah, it is really fun just thinking like starting the movie off, and it didn't occur to me at first, to be honest, but towards the end I put 2 and 2 together. I was like, they smashed a fly, perfect. Right. Yes. Because I did think it was very, very funny that one of the first images we see is this very elaborate death. I mean, in the sense of like, especially for the time, it's a murder scene is what you're thinking. And I'm just like, well, it takes place in a factory or a tool shop or something like that. And, it's not a knifing or a shooting or a hanging or anything like that. No, he's splatted by a giant work press. Blood dripping out everywhere, too. The blood looked great in Technicolor.
Yeah, not quite the bright red of the Kensington gore that you would see in Hammer movies, but a brilliant red all the same.
So what we find out, basically, as you said, is that this is the brother of Vincent Price, and Helene is his wife. The brother's wife. So Vincent Price and the woman are brother and sister-in-law.
Yes.
And I did appreciate that they just spelled that out right up top. So I knew the dynamics right away. But evidently she just calls and said, hey, I just murdered my husband. Can you help?
Yeah. He thinks it's a joke at first. Then he calls his friend or like an acquaintance he has that's late night at a gentleman's club, not
Yes.
that kind, the kind where they hang out and drink brandy and play chess, and who's like the head cop or a big inspector, and he says, hey, yeah, so there might have been a murder. I don't know. Can you check it out before we have to actually deal with real police?
Right.
And this is it's less of a who done it and more of a why done it. And more of a how can we make this person not culpable for having done it?
Yeah, there is that great line that she just explicitly spells out, I've killed Andre and I need your help. So not only is she calling late at night, but that's her line. You're like, what do I do with all this?
She's very calm about it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Vincent grabs his gentleman cop friend and they go down to the machine shop, the factory, and they do quickly confirm and identify that this is Andre, his brother, and that he has been smashed not once but twice.
But twice, yeah. There is a counter on the machine that says how many times it has smushed, and the count is 2. And the Night Watchman claims that he heard a second sound as well.
Did you notice too that edit? I think it comes a couple of scenes before the Night Watchman. He opens his mouth to scream, and it just cuts to a phone ringing in Vincent Price's house. And I was like,
Yes.
that's fun. That's clever.
Great little smash cut. Yeah, the director of this, as we mentioned, Kurt Newman, has a couple of little tricks, but generally this is a pretty reserved picture. Like there's not a lot of like flash or melodrama to it, more than like what sort of the style at the time. You might see some stuff that seems a little bit more overwrought than how we would maybe treat stuff now.
Right.
But it's still pretty held back. Like he holds back a lot. And I think that works for the whole thing. It makes it feel more grounded.
Yeah. Just serious. Like it just feels
helps
like
sell
a play.
that scientific ridiculousness. Yeah. But still, because it's centered around the human emotions. But then occasionally you'll get a fun trick like that where it's the screaming phone.
Back at Helene's house, she kind of coldly explains how she operates the press. Like you said, she's so calm to the point of being like very cold and detached in a fun way. And of course, at this point, the first instance of a fly just sort of buzzing around it happens, and she gets slightly distracted. Subsequently, there are so many more scenes like that.
Yeah.
This is our first taste. Downstairs, the police go check out the brother's laboratory, and it's our first look at that. And I love a 1950s monster laboratory, all kinds of gadgets and gizmos that don't do anything but look cool.
I'm legitimately not clear about this because I understand that so he and Vincent Price owned this company and that he kind of would do the science and then Vincent Price would make it and then make some money. Because I kind of also got the sense that he just was sort of futzing around.
Vincent Price?
No, that Andre, played by David Hedison, was just sort of like, I'm kind of into science and then just got to pursue it. That it wasn't necessarily that he wasn't a scientist, that he was more just a
home tinkerer,
a dabbler.
That's what it seemed like, because if he's got this, it's almost like his basement laboratory was just like, I'm going to go out to the garage and fiddle with my motorcycle for a while. Like, that's kind of the impression that I got.
Yeah, I mean, he's skilled. He knows things, obviously, but it never felt like this was my job. It more just felt like this is a passion that he has, and I've been able to make money off of it.
I think part of that is just the simple fact that his lab is in his own basement, so it's in his house.
Yeah.
So it's not like it hasn't graduated to the level of I need a full office off the premises for my job. We do get the revelation that Vincent Price is in love with Helene. He just sort of spills the beans at one point.
Yeah. And then they just tamp that down. They're just like, hey, well, yeah, that was there, but nothing ever happened. She went with my brother and that's fine. And then when she's talking to the cops about it, she's like, no, our relationship was great. No one had mistresses or whatever the dude version of mistresses.
Suitors, mistresses, or something like that.
Boy toys.
And there's another character, kind of a maid or a handler, who's in this, and she's looking after Helene as she recovers in bed with some food, and there's another fly, and at this point, Helene actually loses her shit when the maid starts swatting at said fly.
I'll soon rid you of the pest.
It's all right, Nurse Anderson. Please leave it alone. But Nurse! Stop it, Nurse. Stop it. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. No! I want to look at the fly.
Get back into
Please
bed.
let me look at the fly.
Back into bed, madame.
Yeah, bring it to you.
They have a son. Andre and her have a son named Philippe. She's talking about Philippe as if Philippe's not her own son. Francois, Vincent Price character, it's his boy, not mine.
Speaking of all these French names, the short story took place in France, but they decided to go ahead and set it in Montreal.
Right. Yeah, to set it in Montreal because that way we could keep the French names because it would be too difficult otherwise.
Yeah.
But I mean, it does give a sense of exoticism to it, that it's not just like Phil and Frank making flies. It's Andre and Francois.
The next scene we do meet Philippe. They're having dinner with him, and he's very inquisitive about flies, and he recognized a fly that Helene was actually looking for, and this is where we get the concept of the white-headed fly. And I do love this line from Philippe.
When did you first see that fly, Philippe?
The day Daddy went away. I had caught it, but Mummy made me let it go. And then later, she wanted me to find it again. She changed her mind. You know how women are.
That's what this little 7-year-old said.
This kid, that's evidence this kid has been sneaking off and reading Playboy. Because already, like, Vincent Price is serving him wine, like very watered down wine. He's like, oh, this is good. So he's already like developing a taste for being super classy. And then he's like, oh, women, I know what that's like. I get all my information about sex from the cartoons in Playboy.
God, I wish Philippe would have been, or I wish Vincent Price would have wrapped him in a little red smoking jacket of his own to like run around in. Oh.
Yeah, that would have been great. Like he's got a little fez or something like, oh, women.
He goes to see Helene. She's still in bed. She's very much like kind of through a good portion of this, she's like convalescing in bed, getting served food and everything. She desperately wants to find the fly, this white-headed fly, and she makes him promise to kill the fly, but refuses to elaborate. And then from here on out, we get a big old long flashback, which I didn't quite realize was happening until a good 15 minutes into it. I was like, oh, this is where the whole story lays.
It's interesting to structure it this way, to have like the aftermath of the act and then about 20 minutes in start going like this is what led up to the act. I think it works a little bit better that way. It keeps things pretty tense. The way it portions out that information, and it becomes it even at certain points stops becoming like, well, what happened to him, but more just, ooh, what's under that hood.
Yeah, so the flashback begins with the scientist still alive, and he has just transported an ashtray. So this is our first reveal of what he's been working on. So if you've seen the 1986 Cronenberg, like every once in a while, I kind of forget that that's the whole thing that's kicks off the fly thing, like he is working on literal transporters. And also in 1958, this is what, like 7 years before like Star Trek even. And so like the concept of this is even more kind of out there, I think, in 1958.
Yeah. And he's been working on a bunch of like super science stuff, like a perfect battery. And like she rattles off a bunch of what he's working on. But he's like, no, this is a brand new thing. This is great. And transports an ashtray in front of her. But there's a slight problem. The ashtray is all fine, except the text on the bottom that reads "Made in Japan" is now reversed.
Something's not quite right here. He keeps working on it. He transports a newspaper, which is kind of fun because then it just shows him very smartly checking all of the words in all of the articles. And then, of course, the cat runs in. The cat's name is Dandolo, which is such a French name for your cat. I mean, but it is funny because the moment the cat runs in, the dread starts of like, well, if you're going to have a cat run into a transportation laboratory, that cat's going to get transported.
Right. Well, because he goes, all right, so I've solved this text thing. What's the next step after text? Cat.
Yeah, right. It does have that kind of very similar reanimator. Like as soon as you see the cat and as soon as Jeffrey Combs sees the cat, you're like, that cat's not going to make it. Yeah.
That cat, yeah. Again, it speaks to the hubris of this guy that he's like, well, it's the family pet and I'm sure it'll be fine. I can't possibly like work my way up to cat.
Right.
Like maybe like do a crayfish or something, but no, or just a fly.
Or not, I don't want to split hairs here about animals, but maybe find a cat at the pet store that your family is not emotionally attached to. I'm not advocating for it, but there are steps.
Right. I mean, if you want to, in terms of like putting a hierarchy on value of life, which is the maybe you shouldn't be doing, but This is the family pet. This is something that your child loves. You're not around much for your child. You're too busy tinkering, trying to make frozen hamburger patties that are self-microwaving.
They can transport.
They can transport into your mouth.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's just like, I'm sure it'll be fine.
But I admit, I thought that this sequence was actually really well done. And I think it's pretty chilling because he tries to transport the cat. It does not reappear in the second pod. And you just hear meows just kind of in the ether. And I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, he has merged his cat with the infinite.
Yes.
Like that cat is experiencing the end of 2001.
For sure.
And is becoming consciousness, like is becoming God. You just turned your cat into God.
I mean,
and then that's why what happens to him as punishment, because that cat is not upset at being God, but it can no longer be fed by him.
Oh,
and
there you go.
Still has that cat tendency to hold a grudge about it.
And constantly meow at you.
Yeah. And he's very like, oops about it. Like he does not, when eventually he reveals that he did it, he's like, I don't know, it's Adam somewhere now.
But yeah, that does tap into like that mind-bending cosmic horror idea that I could absolutely love if a movie puts, where is that cat? That night, after having just ascended his cat, it's time for the ballet. So, as you do, you just go put on your suit and you take your lady out to the ballet. But I thought this montage was so goofy cute because, of course, he can't pay attention to the ballet because he's all wrapped up in his science. So he's sitting there with a scratch pad in the balcony.
Yeah, he's not gawking at the ballerinas. He's too busy doing math.
This is a fun little thing that I read about this, and I just love this kind of stuff. But evidently, the footage that was used for the ballet was a Technicolor screen test. It was just the old camera footage that they had lying around. And it was just like, well, we've got some of this. How do we trim the budget? Just make sure we don't see them in the same frame as the stage, and we'll be okay. I had it married together just fine because I didn't think about it.
Yeah, it's a good use of stock footage. He plays it off like I'm, like, let's celebrate. I want to take you out. I made these amazing breakthroughs.
Yeah.
Let's go out. But really, it's just, I'm going to butter you up before I have to tell you what happened to the cat.
That's true. Yeah.
This is really like giving a dog a cheeseburger right before it's time to make the final trip to the vet.
That is probably something else he read in Playboy magazine. Like, if you have to cop to something to your woman, take her to the ballet first and it'll go down easier. Yeah. So after the ballet, they retire to the lab for a sexy night of transporting. First, he does the hamster and then he cops to Dandelo. And I love so much that he says,
Well, where's she gone?
Into space. A stream of cat atoms. It'd be funny if life weren't so sacred.
Which is just it's like a sociopathic thing to say. Like, just, it would be funny if life didn't matter. If life didn't matter to the rest of you the way it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, that's such like an almost Elon Musk level Twitter joke or something like that.
Right. Well, and that's again for this thing being so understated is it's all just kind of matter of fact. And in a way that I think works. It's not cold necessarily. It's just this guy's worldview is just this. It's like,
right.
I'm just care about the science. And even like, there's not a big, music sting or her like reproachful glare. She's just like, that sucks. Don't do that.
But then the next scene, they're just lounging in each other's arms, talking about how great it is to be alive and in love, and also how great science is. I mean, I think she expresses some doubt here, but he's just like, nah, baby, it's great. We'll be transporting in no time. And that's it.
Yeah. And not to focus too much on the cat thing, but I also think that cats were perhaps pets were maybe a little bit more, not necessarily expendable, but they weren't doted on maybe as much as that we do now.
Mm-hmm. Or if there was, it was like the family dog it was probably a higher level. So cats were, just one step above rodent. Frankly.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll just get a new one. Yeah. It's not a big deal. Yeah, that they're still very much in love despite him destroying the cat or merging the cat with the infinite. But he's like, yeah, I still think I can do better than this. And
yeah,
I'm going to do another stupid and dangerous thing.
Yes.
I caught such a funny looking fly. You want to see it?
Now, you let it go at once. You know how your father disapproves of you catching insects.
But this isn't like any other fly I've ever seen. It has a funny white head It's sort of white lead.
Now you let it go at once. Now go along, do as you're told. Go on.
The maid realizes that she made lunch for the master, which also kind of cracked me up.
Yes.
But he hasn't taken it, into his laboratory yet. That makes them a little bit nervous. They go down and check on the food, and Andre leaves a note for Helene that says, "I'm not in danger, but it is a matter of life and death," which is one of my favorite things about this movie so far. What a great note.
Yeah. Well, again, like we don't see it happen. We don't see him like get into the pod and it's your day is going about the way it normally does.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's different. And all of a sudden there's a note that's like, "Hey, I'm not going to have lunch. I'm always probably busy." And then it's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, do not look at me. My life is in your hands.
I need your help."
Eagle-eyed viewers might recognize that maid as Microwave Marge. That is Kathleen Freeman. That she was Microwave Marge in Gremlins 2. Been in a
She
ton
was
of stuff,
also the nun in the Blues Brothers.
there you go.
He goes inside and finds another note. She gets him a rum and milk, which must be a favorite cocktail of Fly's. I'm not sure. Rum and
I
milk.
guess, yeah. Or fly men or fly girls. I don't know. I didn't ask. I don't know what Jennifer Lopez likes to drink.
I was going to say, let's go watch In Living Color. And we just dated ourselves once again.
Yeah.
This starts like a back and forth where he cannot communicate, we realize, because, well, he's got a sheet over his head. And so he has to type out these notes to leave to her. And he basically explains, "Hey, there's a fly out there with a white head on it. You got to find it.
I need you to get this."
So find a fly. Not only find a fly, but a particular fly.
Right. And the tragedy of this is that Philippe had found one and she made him
I
let
think
it
the
go.
tragedy is that he drinks rum and milk.
But fair enough.
Yeah, not even hot rum and milk. Hot buttered rum? Is that that's a thing.
Yeah, hot buttered
Yeah.
rum's a thing. Yeah. I don't know. Just rum and milk together sounds disgusting to me, but it's not like a rum and
Right.
tonic. But yeah, no, that is pretty disgusting. But you know, it is like, you'd think you'd just be like, just a whole bunch of sugar, please.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is where I started losing a little bit of attention for the movie, because it's just like scene after scene of them wandering around looking to either swat or catch a fly. Now, when I realized, when I thought about it for 2 seconds, it made me laugh a little bit, because it almost feels like this terrible existential task that she's being put forth to her, which is find a fly with a white head. But I also just didn't want to watch it for like 10 or 15 minutes, go on and on.
Right. Yeah. Because it's them trying and failing to get the fly in different ways. Like, oh, we almost got the fly. Oh, there's a hole in the net. Oh, there's a hole in the window, and those different things. But I do like that the growing tension of, although it's perhaps maybe his Newman's understatements kind of hurt the film here, but that she's desperately trying to find this thing, and that as a scientist, there's nothing he can do. That he's stuck wherever, in the basement. He hasn't revealed, he hasn't revealed his claw to her yet. But he's down there helpless and just hopes that they can come up with something, and that she can't quite explain to everyone else what's going on.
Right.
But that they're still communicating, that they've worked out through the notes and through a series of knocks, yes or no, a way to keep working together on this.
Yeah.
And that she's still remaining pretty level-headed about all this.
Even to the point where, he types a note to her that says, "I need you fresh and strong for tomorrow," which also made me laugh.
Yeah, and apologizes for like his output. Like, I know this freaks you out.
Yep.
I'm sorry. This is a lot to take in, but just please stay strong for me.
They finally managed to find a fly that looks like it has like an itty bitty little white head on it, which I was just like, bravo, filmmakers. I don't know how you managed to do that, but that was kind of neat.
I think it's just a dollop of paint on like just a microscopic just on the top of a fly.
Unfortunately, it gets outside, and that's when Helene just begins to despair. Back in the lab, he eats a fantastically 1950s dinner of just some sort of meat and then peas and mashed potatoes and a roll. But this is where, you start, he wrestles with the meat with his like fly hand that you're getting to see, while she reads a note from him. And this is another fantastic line that he typed out a message that just says, "Brain thinks strange things now." And I really enjoyed that because now I want to know, like, is it fly thoughts? Like, ooh, I got to go find dog poop. Or is it like it was some other weird, like cosmic thing, like kind of getting into him and he has no idea how to deal with it?
Right. It's just, it's forms of thoughts that he can't really comprehend. It's just jumbles up there.
Yeah.
But those jumbles could also just be, man, get that dog poop.
Yeah.
Why'd you get rid of that cat? We could have been a wash and poop.
Lousy and poop. I do not need this like chicken fried steak dinner that you made me.
Yeah. I will eat it. Don't get me wrong. I will dissolve it in
fluid.
Gorge myself on it. Just, it could be a little bit more fecal is all I'm saying.
She convinces him to go through the transporter again, and he does, but when he exits the pod, she just rips the sheet off of his head, and this is when we get the big reveal of the fly head and that fantastic, like, what'd you call it, like the fractal eye vision.
Yeah.
It's a classic horror cinema shot.
She gets it in her head. It's like, well, why don't you just try going through again and maybe it will just automatically descramble. And he's like, no, that's dumb. Like I would need the fly to do that, but can't really communicate that. But it's like, fine, whatever. What's it going to do? And in reality, in the book, the short story, what initially happens is the Dandelion sort of shows back up and the head is a combo. It's like a cat's head with fly's eyes, which is also just kind of creepy that just the idea of the cat just kind of like hanging around. I mean, like this whole thing is like there have been so many Star Trek episodes based around this, like transporter mishaps. Yeah, we wouldn't have Star Trek if it wasn't for the fly.
Well, we wouldn't have Tuvix because of that, And what a loss that would be. Yeah, that was a transporter malfunction, right?
I don't know which way was that Voyager, because I didn't really watch Voyager.
Yeah, that's Voyager. It's Tuvok and Neelix being put together, and all that.
Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it's a rough one.
Like putting like Jim Carrey and John Leguizamo in the same.
The Ultra Pest.
Just like
the mask pest. Pest.
And then it's like, oh no, but we have to go to this high society dinner tonight. Oh no. But that mask is so great. And they went through a lot of different iterations of that. Like at one point, the eyes were a bunch of just like plastic beads on the end of pins to try to give it that look, but it didn't really film very well. The little feelers on his mouth, coming off his mouth, are stripped down turkey feathers.
Man.
And like it's a couple of wigs put together. The whole thing, I think, weighed about like 20 pounds.
20 pounds. And he couldn't see out of it or anything. He was just like stumbling around, which, I don't want subtle movements out of this guy, but he wasn't about to be able to give us subtle movements. Like his whole performance has to be big because he's trapped underneath this mask.
Yeah. And he's got like a little, like I think they ended up putting like a dowel or something he can kind of control with his mouth that makes the proboscis sort of move.
Totally.
But
yeah.
They went through a lot and he was a good sport about it. The only freak out that he talks about having on set is there was one time he showed up ready to film and they had just got done shooting an insert shot of his hand and it was the director's hand. And he was like, how dare you? Why did you do that? Your hand is not my hand. It's totally different.
That is some commitment even to the fly man.
Yeah. He's just like, I want it to be me. But yeah, but the makeup's great. And I think it was smart to not have the cat thing because it's a little bit of a.
Yeah.
I was going to say hat on a hat, but then it's like cat on a cat.
A cat in a hat.
but it is like it's already just let the horror of being the fly get there. We've already sort of established that.
Then we have to call the movie The Fly Cat or something like that. That's just too much.
The Mishmash Man. Which sounds way more fun and has like a banjo soundtrack. It's about moonshine running
with a cat head. Okay.
With a cat head. Yeah. I stepped into a teleporter and I came out with an unslakable thirst for moonshine.
She faints and then he trashes the lab. And man, I love a good lab trashing scene. Absolutely.
Well, this is great. Like that reveal. So you see her and she's already like done the hands face, the Home Alone hands to the cheek screaming when she first sees his claw, but she does it again when she sees his face. And as we talked about, you see her do it, but then you see it multiplied in the fly's eyes. And that's effective because it's really out of context. It makes you see, seeing just those clips. It's like, oh no, the fly guy's going to get that woman. But the reality of in the scene, in that moment, it's the realization of just how inhuman this man is, or her husband now is, and just by seeing it through his point of view, that despair of like that loss of humanity. This is the person that you love, and now you're seeing them hundreds of times screaming at your face.
Yes, and she's the only one who can help him, and so now she's just terrified of him.
Yeah. And so now she sees the monster that you've become. And then when she passes out, he kind of like is trying to caress her and almost like kiss her. And he's like, I can't, I'm a freak. This sucks. So that's when he gets super mad and destroys everything. And it's basically like, because you can't find the fly,
Yes.
We can't let this out. This is too dangerous. Look what an idiot I've been.
Mm-hmm.
And it does have that, like, I know that there is this like sense of hubris or whatever, but some of it is like, you just made some real dumb mistakes.
Sure.
But that's hubris for you, I guess. But yeah, destroying the whole lab. Yeah. Doing the whole Citizen Kane, just knocking over everything and setting fire to his books and stuff. But he also like doesn't hide his face anymore.
Right.
He's like, if she wakes up, she knows what I looks like. I can't do it,
Yeah, big deal.
Can't put that genie back in the bottle. Can't put that face back in the bag.
He writes on the chalkboard, "Kill Fly, please. Love you."
Yeah. And it's brutal. Because again, it's not just that he's this monster like, oh no, it's that this is the person that you love, that you've watched do this to yourself, that you couldn't do anything about. And now they're like, I need you to end my life.
Right. Because we tried to reverse this. He doesn't say this, but well, you failed. You couldn't find the fly. So
yeah, he's like, because what am I going to do? Be mad at you? I'm the one that got into the
transporter
register, or the transporter to begin with. So I'm still mad, but I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
There you go.
I'm not mad. I'm just a fly.
Right. Just disappointed that I have a fly head.
I don't have eyebrows to furrow.
They make their way down to the factory from the beginning. The machine all set up and in order, and he lays down. And at one point, she runs over to him as if to comfort, or maybe like say like, "Ooh, maybe this isn't a good idea." But then, like it's almost like the fly part like takes over in him, and this is the one time that he does show aggression to her, because it looks like he's gonna like pull her in to get smashed along.
Yeah.
And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's one of those like weird thoughts that his brain is having, like maybe like kill her now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And like, because you think about, I don't want to get into like all the questionable science in this movie, because who cares? This is the premise of it. Let's just go with it. Flies you generally think of as pretty, not having a lot of thoughts, not having a lot going on upstairs. They're just like eat, fly. That's pretty much it. And so the idea of the like aggression, the idea of like, well, if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me, is sort of a frightening notion. The idea that like the first thing that the flies experience is a desire for vengeance. That's its first emotion.
Yeah. Again, against somebody that he loves too.
He loves. Yeah. But it's a little awkward how that scene is put together, because it runs out. She seems, you kind of after the fact are going, oh, I guess she's trying to help him, because it really is just, she just sort of runs up and puts herself in the
machine, in
the press as well.
It's almost like, hey, we need some sort of cliffhanger, or not cliffhanger. We need some sort of peril at the end. Go position yourself underneath this big press for no real straight ahead reason.
But she's like, rather than like trying to just stop the machine, she doesn't know how to do that. So she goes over and tries to help him and tries to get her. She frees herself, but then it smushes him, but not all the way, because he wanted head and hand destroyed, which this is a big way to go about it, because you could, in theory, just set fire to yourself.
Sure.
But I'm not, hey, go out the way you want to. Don't let me tell you how to do things. But, he wants it all destroyed so no one can piece together what he's done. And she notices that the hand is still there, and she has to raise the platform and then do it like again. That's brutal. I mean, it's commitment. It's a brutal thing to ask of her, but that she loves him enough. She's willing to do it. She's willing to like see her loved one smush to goop. And
man, could you imagine if like they reverse that and like they smash the hand first, and he's just in absolute agony, and he was like, now you got to put my head in here. Like, better movie.
That would be, that would be cruel. But this is more just like, well, I'm gonna do your wish. You put me through. You made me kill you, but I'm still gonna do your follow your wishes. Smush his hand, and that's actually when the night watchman calls her. And I love that because when the press comes down, all of it, the press comes down, and as it like hits bottom, it transitions to like this weird water ripple transition to her telling the story.
Because you kind of forget that you're in a flashback at this point.
Right. It's because it's been so long. Oh, right. Yeah. Now we're back to the results of all this. Obviously, you could see the influence on Terminator. That's how they got rid of T-800. Although his hand survived, and Linda Hamilton did not go back and smush the other one. And
there you go. And a brain chip. So it's a head and an arm. So
that's right.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Nice. So back in the present day, the policeman is skeptical, but I love this, though he is a science fiction enthusiast. So he slips that in there. Like I have an open mind, guys.
Yeah.
I read Starlog or whatever. But he does believe her to be insane. So this like sets off this final like 15-minute moral argument of, is she insane? Who believes her? But Vincent Price sort of he sits on a bench, kind of not knowing what to do, but he has this like kind of goofy like smile on his face for a good part of this, because he's just like, almost like the director is just telling him, okay, sit there, enjoy the fresh air, enjoy the time that you have on this bench. And then there's the classic bit of you hear a voice just going, help me, help me, help me, in a very high pitched, tiny voice.
Very tiny voice. Yeah. And he's like, oh, that's weird. I'm not going to think anything of it. And leaves. And it's not until the little boy, Philippe, is like, oh, I saw that fly again. It was in a web. That they're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He goes down there and gets the inspector, and they go down there and see the now famous scene of the fly. The other half of what happened is there's a fly with the arm and head of Andre, and it's caught in a web, and a giant spider is approaching. The spider, the way they did that effect, the spider's just a big hand puppet. Which is pretty great, but it's terrifying. Like just that little voice, and he's trapped. He can't do anything. He's just this horrified look on his face. He's freakishly white and covered in goop.
I like the way he looks there. I think he genuinely looks creepy. You can look at that shot and kind of giggle and say how old it looks or whatever, but I think it's effective. Like I really like it.
Still works, yeah.
And evidently Vincent Price, he said they had to do those shots so many times because everybody on set except for the director was laughing at the help me stuff, which has to be a little disconcerting if you're the director. Like no one else.
Yeah, there was his story about that is kind of shifted and changed a little bit, but it was always just that there was he and the actor playing Charles just died laughing the whole time. Like whether it was like a little voice or something else that happened on set, or like the little one story was like the little figure they used to represent the little fly guy looked funny, and whatever happened, there was just peals of laughter the whole time and multiple takes. But they still sell it.
They still got it.
Charles kills the fly and the spider with a rock, and Vincent Price points out like, well,
you've committed murder just as much as Helene did. You killed a fly with a human head. She killed a human with a fly head. If she murdered, so did you.
Well, I can't be guilty. So guess what? She's not guilty. So they worked together to cover up a murder. So
I like that last little twist, because I think most movies would end with like, we killed the monster. But since, like, as we were talking about at the top of the episode, like he's not like a traditional monster. He's not on a rampage, Right. So killing him right there presents more of a moral conundrum than like, oh, you killed Michael Myers. You're going to go to jail now for that.
Right. And I mean, it does. The original ending for the short story is that Helene kills herself.
Yeah.
She's just too racked with guilt about what she's done. And they like basically have her journal, and they have to go like, well, maybe it's real, maybe it's not. This one, they give her more of a happy ending, I think, at the studio's request. But that it lessens that, or how do I want to put this? Like it changes the calculus of like the hubris of the scientist about it really only affecting him. Because like, yeah, she goes through stuff, has to kill him, but then it's by the end, it's all like, I'm fine. Whereas that you're at that point, you're also bringing down everyone else around you. Is that the hubris is affecting, and your horrible decisions and your choices have ruined everyone else around you. Mm-hmm. Whereas, yeah, she's upset, but they're like, well, let's get her out of this. Fortunately, we have money and we're white, so the sky's the limit, baby.
Everything will be fine. And then, I do think that the final scene is pretty funny, like considering what they all just went through.
Yes, because sometime later, an undisclosed amount of time later, and Helene and Philippe are on the lawn playing croquet, and Vincent Price rolls up. Philippe is like, hey, my mom told me what happened, but she left out one thing. Why did he die?
Yeah.
That's a big thing for mom to leave out. And it's also like, do you want Andre to be like, oh, yeah, no, your mom smushed him. Yeah, he crushed her. Yeah, she crushed him into a fine paste.
He was an abomination.
Yeah. Oh, awful. But he gives this speech about, how his dad was,
an explorer.
It is sort of the Tampered in God's domain a little bit about how he was an explorer, and
he was searching for the truth. He almost found a great truth. But for one instant, he was careless.
Again, really, really less of like, he thought he was hot snob, but it turns out he was a cold booger on a paper plate. It was just like, yeah, he messed up.
It's funny too, because he says in one instance, he made a mistake. It's just like, I'm sorry, Dandelo, would like to have a word with you on this level.
Yeah. The cat,
Fly,
him, the fly, he ruined that ashtray.
Yeah.
No one's caring about, someone in Japan made that. You don't care about.
Yeah. We think the hamster's okay. Don't know, really.
We don't know. He could be deeply cynical now. We have no idea.
Right. He did say he would have to study the hamster for like a month or something like that to make sure it wouldn't fall apart.
He's like,
nah,
it's been a week. I think it's fine. Let me in there.
Up on ballet.
Yeah, get me on that. Oh man, you ever watch a good ballet and just want to get into a pod?
Right. Yeah, and then the music swells and they just sort of walk off, and that's it. So I enjoy that because it's so goofy, but considering how kind of dreary the rest of the movie is, it doesn't quite match up the tone.
Yeah. It almost it made me think of, just because we had recently watched it, the ending of Papi Guja, the Bollywood Child's Play.
Oh, yes.
Where it was just like, well, that's all done, and there was just stand happily over his grave.
Yes. Right.
Like, this seems a little bit of a forced happy ending, but I'm glad for the characters. Like, I'm involved enough with these characters that I am glad that they found some sort of peace.
Yes, and hopefully the little boy grows up to just say, like, what actually happened to Dad, and what's left of that laboratory down there?
Yeah, we'll see.
I guess there are sequels to this. There are 2 more sequels.
There are sequels, and when they bought the rights to this, he also bought the rights with making sequels in mind.
Okay.
He was like, I want to have the rights to be able to make sequels if I want to, because I think we could do something out of this. And it was huge. This movie did really, really well. As you mentioned, kind of helped Vincent Price's career a lot, but wrangled in a bunch of money. In fact, one reviewer ended his review by saying, "Don't swat it, see it."
Oh man, I miss that kind of journalism. Yeah,
I know. It makes you feel like, what have we been doing? There was also, I don't know if any places did this, but this was also a time, not quite of the William Castle level, but they would try to do gimmicks for people, to get people in the theater, stuff like that. And there was one, they had suggested that the exhibitor's campaign book had one where it was a box that you could reach in and shake hands with the fly, and it was just a hairbrush. So it just feel all gross and weird, but I just love stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, the trailer for this is pretty great because it's just Vincent Price walking on the screen and telling you to go see The Fly, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's honor our dead. Andre Delambre, human half, played by David Hedison, crushed head in hydraulic press with the help of Helene. Andre Delambre, fly half, played by David Hedison's head, crushed by a rock wielded by Inspector Charas. So yeah, what a great start to a new franchise. This is definitely a case of, if you're on the fence of watching something quote unquote old, just give it a shot. It's really good. And I feel like it has an atmosphere that is absolutely worth kind of wallowing in for a while, and it is sort of scary and sad, and it gives you enough to kind of like think about and chew on for a little while too.
Yeah, it's interested, it's character focused, it's interested in these people. It's not just, some teens went to go make out at the point and saw a big bug.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was surprised how much of a punch it packed.
Yes. Are you saying see it, don't swat it?
I'm saying see it, don't swat it.
I'll concur.
I mean, a lot of times I'll like order a movie, I'll get a Blu-ray and I just slap it to the floor and that's it. And I just don't ever watch it. I just bought it to do that. This one, I'd say actually watch it.
All right, everyone. Well, that is the first movie in the Fly franchise. We have 2 more sequels from this era, and then the big old fat 1986 Cronenberg one.
I'm guessing that the kill counts go up in these next 2.
I mean, I kind of hope so. Like, I kind of want to. Yeah. I would like them to follow your preference, which is get a little wacky with it in part 2.
Yeah, I think they're going to be more like Huber Schmubers. He's just a monster. Yeah. Like, I just want to see a big fly guy.
Teenagers. Yeah, that's what we want.
Less Andre Delambre, more Baxter Stockton.
Yeah, there we go.
Is what we want.
Yeah, that's what we want. So thanks again to everyone who voted on our Instagram poll. That's been a lot of fun the last couple times we've done it. So we might just keep doing that. Unless there's something that both of us are just dying to talk about. But no, it was kind of fun to watch all those roll in, and I know that people will be enthusiastic about this franchise then.
Yeah.
And if you are on Instagram and want to follow us, we're This May Hurt a Bit Pod on Instagram, or you can email us at thismayhurtabitpod@gmail.com. You can also inquire about t-shirts and little tote bags too. We got some of those for sale with our nice logo on them. So pop in that Return of the Fly, and we will see you in 2 weeks. Good night.
Good night.
This has been a Caretaker Press production. It was produced by James Strayer and edited by John C. Myers. Logo by Ethan Kimberling and music by Michael Arthur Holloway, who you can find on Bandcamp. Follow us on Instagram at thismayhurtabitpod and email us at thismayhurtabitpod@gmail.com. Give us a 5-star review over on your favorite podcast app, and we'll see you next time.